So I am turning 44 in a little bit, actually 11 days from now. And I wanted to share something that just has occurred to me in my 40s. I hear a lot about perimenopause and menopause. And, I always did. Perimenopause is more of a recent modern diagnosis. But, that idea was always around, this idea of aging and degeneration, and it all goes downhill. I heard it my whole life, especially in my career. Women who were older than me that I was supporting would just say, wait till you turn 40. It all goes downhill. Your metabolism changes, all that, right? And we have this kind of degenerative perspective when it comes to this as we march through life. We have this perspective that life kind of winds down in a degenerative pattern. We get worn out, right? But much like I think healing is just, now I see so clearly, it is kind of a ruse. I think that is too. I think that that's just a spell. And you'll hear me use this word spell a lot. And it's not because I'm super into witchcraft or witches. Although if I look back in my life, I've had some kind of run-ins with clues. Have you ever done this where you look back at your life and you can kind of see a symbolic foreshadowing of your here and now? And it makes so much sense when you look into belief and perspective and how much that shapes our life. I can even trace back my life today to movies that I watched when I was younger. It's like we build our lives based on all these exposures. But anyway, I wasn't necessarily designing a life to become a witch or somebody who would throw around the word spell. And again, no judgment. I have no judgment of that life choice, I guess. But, we use the word spell when it comes to words, and we're teaching our kids how to spell words, right? It's called spelling. And that's with purpose if you actually look at the etymology of the word. But what I'm talking about essentially is when we cast forth a communication onto a being and that being receives it in a way that has influence, that where that actually they make something of that expression. And that's powerful. It's more powerful than I think we realize when we sign up to ask somebody their opinion, especially if it's somebody that we hold to a very high regard, like an expert, and they tell us something. I don't think people realize how much just being told something affects our biology, affects how we live our life and how we interact with our life. And so back to the topic is essentially that my 40s, I wasn't under any of those spells. I was not willing to go into a menopause story or a perimenopause story or a degenerative story. But I did notice symptoms of that, right? I have noticed stiffness and difficulty moving and this whole sluggish metabolism thing. And just like everything else, I meet it with wonder and curiosity. I play with the idea while I'm kind of pissed about it and upset with how my face is looking and all this stuff, right? And then I get, I fall under other spells of the sales spells on Instagram, of the magical solutions. Although there's some really great stuff. There's some really amazing creators and artists on social media. I won't knock it. I enjoy it. But your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, whatever age it hits you, what I have found is that at this stage of life, I am just in awe of life. And in some respect, I've always been this way. But it was up until now, I was in a rush to become an adult. I was not a great kid and I was behaved. I was well behaved, but I wasn't good at wanting to be a kid. I remember thinking that even when I was a kid, I wish I made more of this, but I was just impatiently trying to get to the phase that I'm in now, actually, or that I was in when Griffin and Tristan, my oldest kids, were 4 and 2. I remember thinking to myself, I pinched myself and I was like, you played Barbies and played house every day of your childhood for this phase, dreaming of what it was to have these kids. And then even now I have a teenager and I remember what was the name of, Skipper. Skipper was the teenage Barbie. But like, this is my dream. This is definitely my dream. Some people they want to climb mountains and they want to, although I've been mountain climbing a lot while I've been in Vermont, but, you know what I mean? Like they have these like physical, feats that they want to accomplish, or even some art. I was a performer. I dance and I do dabble in that. But the highest expression for me in this lifetime is family and having fun and being present with my family. So I have been aware for many years of how difficult it is for me to be present. That is really the irony, when you get slapped in the face with the fact that you have, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you think. And then you kind of go on a journey of, well, maybe it wasn't my dream. You know, maybe I'm just telling myself when I was in the trauma spell of, you know, a slew. But no, this is definitely my dream. But my inability to be present at times, or when I'm not in the way that is teaching me something. And the symptoms of my body were the greatest markers on the map to knowing myself through this experience of having which by the way was what I wished on every single eyelash. When I found out you could like blow away your eyelash that fell out and make a wish, that was my wish. So whatever your dream is, when you get to a stage of your life where you are so aware of the temporal nature of it, right? That like it, and unfortunately, sometimes we have to experience this by experiencing loss of someone. That is a sacred moment when you just go, the time is marching on. I have this life, this one life and I'm not sure what I believe about, but just this life as Marissa. In this life, so I started, instead of getting in some kind of a spell with, it's, you know, the magnesium deficiency that comes with this age, or the hormone regulation issues, and I need to take hormone replacement. Just even a lifestyle change. I mean, lifestyle change is beautiful, but if it's because of your symptoms, it's because you're trying to solve your symptoms, you're kind of missing why the symptoms are there. Because to me, they're there to teach us to meet our life, to see what are you doing? What are you thinking? What are your patterns of behavior? What's going on in the closet of your mind, the part that you shove away, that you don't see, that you're I think that your 40s call you to Marie Kondo your subconscious closet. And you can't see your subconscious is in the back. It's David R. Hawkins said, you can't see in the back of your head, so your life has to show it to you. But we're so distracted dealing with our problems, solving our problems, especially the bodily ones, that we are completely missing the point to me, which is to meet them, to see what they're showing you. They're literally markers on a map like, hey, here's some clues. You can use some tools or some practitioners to clue you in, but only you can navigate this map. And being able to meet the places where you've shoved stuff back there that literally has no relevance whatsoever, is entirely unhelpful. Maybe you've been saving it for later, for posterity or for memory or something, but in general, a lot of the crap that we store in our closet we don't need, we'll never need. And frankly, when it comes to thought forms, not only do most of they're probably untrue. And my husband is actually in this awesome venture. He's totally shifted his coaching, and he's created this thing called the wake up window. And it's just awesome because it's really contending with truth. It's different, I think, for women, but in a way that like men, I think, need to contend with truth, because we tell ourselves so much bullshit. We've been told literally glaringly obvious things that if that's what everybody believes, but it isn't true. But I'm telling you, if you have beliefs in the back of your mind that are entirely untrue, defy your actual ability to witness your own personal experience. And I won't spoil this particular talk with those specific things, but of course you want to do the sweet little Marie Kondo, look at the belief and say thank you, and then don't even give it away, please. Like, don't give it to somebody else, the delusion. Like, that is meant to be in the trash, because what's happening is it's occupying space in your life and you are creating from it. We create from our belief. And then even think about, like, if we're if we've got things that we believe or think, or whether it's how we have to act, what we need to do, how we need to run our days, if we don't fully own that and we don't know that we chose every article of clothing, every belief that we put on when we walk through our days, if we don't know whether or not we really want it or it helps us live better in our lives, then we're not going to feel great in our life. And then, oh my gosh, what a waste of this beautiful life. And so look at these. In a few months, every one of these leaves will change. The conifers, the deciduous trees, the leaves will turn just breathtakingly beautiful right before the moment when they finally just loosen their stem and let go. Imagine if that's how all of us approach our life, where we just keep learning the ways in which we are stifling our nourishment, disconnecting ourselves from the tree, from our nourishment, from our source, our creator. And we get to just become more and more beautiful until the moment when we actually, in a communication with we decide, and it's more beautiful to me. I don't want to be controlling of it, but I think that so much of my life was designed around how not to die, how not to mess up, how not to, what I was avoiding, what I was making sure, I did so that I could have, safety. And what's ironic is that I've literally never felt safe my entire life. And my hips show me that I'm still working on that. And because safety just doesn't come from avoidance. It just doesn't, it's a connection, and you're automatically safe. You're like a bionic body when you're really connected. This whole let me just slow down as I age. Let me just modify. Let me just adapt. I mean, it's been a long life. I put through my yes, all of us, none of us move enough. None of us, eat really, truly, naturally or any of that. But I honestly don't think that matters as much as it matters. It does. I believe it matters. You don't have to believe it matters, but I don't think it matters as much as we say. I think that when we're living from a place of choice, that's the fountain of youth. And it doesn't mean avoiding death. That's just, I've been there actually, in kind of the spiritual set. There's this everlasting life, but no, nature shows us that that's not true. Everything is in cycles and everything has its own. And so I just wanted to share that as you get into this phase of getting older and you start to contemplate the preciousness of life and you evaluate whether you're able to be truly present in your life, that you want, just consider that your illnesses and these symptoms of your body are invitations to meet your life and meet the beliefs in that closet that need to be cleaned out, reorganized, dusted off, seen, and most of them really just thrown in the bin so they can compost and just stop in sabotaging your incredibly powerful connection. Because as I'm going to share in this book that I'm writing, your perspective it's the capacitor. It's what determines how much voltage, how much energy you can handle. So if you're tired or you're depressed, that is not because your hormones are in a hard-coded way biologically messing with you. It's because you're co-creative with your hormones. You're co-creative with your bodily expression. And that's the thing to tune up and bring into your awareness every time you feel something. So if you go to a practitioner and you ask them about this, and they're not talking about what I'm in a quite literal way, because it's very specific and it's very symbolic, the way your body expresses. If they name it as a condition and just sell you some supplements or some blood, some therapies, you can use really beautiful tools. It is lovely to go to practitioners and to engage in, but it is not ever going to solve an illness for you, because an illness is not asking to be solved. It's asking to be seen so that you can change into better alignment, into more presence with yourself, into more choice, and to be tidied up, to spark joy. Gotta love Marie Kondo. All right, that's my birthday message. Sending love.